like the control room for the studio. But I would go in there and score films and do all stuff like that.
That's pretty much When people are like rehearsing here, we go in there, we do our own work and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We just let them. We set them up and we go back there. We do our own.
You got some kind of big cable going through there or somewhere?
Yeah, so it all runs into this snake. That just connects to our mixer back there.
Yeah, we had all that stuff.
Yeah, you know the business, the game. We rolling?
I'm rolling.
You rolling, Mark?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Goodstock Show. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Robert Gary, in the building.
Thank you, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, pleasure. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Robert.
We got some Sam Ash legacy in the building.
Yeah, God.
We got Mayor Marc on the sticks as usual, co-hosting for the day. Will behind the camera, Auntie in the building. All right, Robert Gary. You're a multi-instrumentalist. You're an educator. You are an author. You are a film score composer.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. How did you get into all this stuff?
Because I didn't want to work in a bank. Or something like that, probably, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I've been a musician and an artist all of my life. There was some truth to what I just said, actually, too. I just couldn't feature having a job like that. So
I hear you loud and clear.
I always try to figure something out, But, I started playing instruments and music when I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And
3?
Yeah, I had a piano, and I think the first thing I learned how to play was Hi Ho from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I just started teaching myself when I was a kid, and I played guitar, trumpet, various instruments. I always liked to paint and draw and act, all kinds of things. I always just
did you play any sports or anything?
I did when I was a kid. I was a hell of a hitter, actually. I was a good hitter, yeah. I don't anymore, but I had a knee replacement a few months ago, so it's hard enough just to walk around. But I used to pitch, and actually I was a sidearm pitcher. I can't believe I had no idea I'd be talking about this, but I used to knock guys down in Little League because they would think the ball was going to hit them, and they would just fall down, and it would be a strike.
That's funny.
Slider, curveball, something like that.
I was a pitcher too, not sidearm. No, I threw over the top, crazy over the top.
Yeah, I did kind of too, but I don't know. I had that sidearm thing. I don't know.
So, can you recall? I think you might have just answered my question, but the question was, what was the first instrument or thing of art of your earliest memory that pulled you in to this journey?
Yeah, I would say, playing piano when I was a kid in my house. I played trumpet. Some attempts were made to give me piano lessons, which I did not like, and that kind of goes to where I ended up later with my teaching. But, I painted when I was a kid. I made films when I was a kid, like monster movies and kind of stuff like that.
Wow.
I was into a lot.
Your parents put all this creativity onto you as a kid.
Yeah. My mom was my mom was an artist. She painted a little bit. My father actually fronted a big band in the 40s or something like that.
Wow.
He was into Frank Sinatra and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He taught me a little bit of piano at first, but I mostly kind of taught myself guitar. I took up painting when I was in my early 20s, and I actually it's a lot of what I know about music and a lot of my teaching, I think, owes a lot to my painting and what I learned in painting.
So just an all-around creative. I relate to that a little bit.
Yeah.
Jack of most trades, master of none.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your case, but that's my case.
Yeah. Not for me to say, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm curious how did the painting kind of inform your musical expression?
Well, I spent about 5 or 6 years at the Art Students League in New York, and I had a very good teacher. And there was a lot of the same artistic principles are in all the arts. So a lot of things about form and artistic thinking. I did study some music theory and stuff like that in college, but I think the really important stuff I learned as a painter, actually. And as far as, my teaching, it all goes back to Jean-Michel Basquiat. Do you know who he is? Yeah. Okay. So like most people in the 80s when he was around, he was obviously a tremendously, sophisticated artist, but one of the things he did say is that he intentionally tried to paint and draw like a child. Right. So a lot of people at that
Interesting.
time said, "Oh, well, that'd be easy. You got it." But if you try to do it, it's impossible. So
Because we've lost that innocence. We've lost that closeness to the
Exactly. And he opened my mind to the fact that young kids in early childhood, basically before they hit the age of reason, I guess it was around 7 years old, they're all master artists. Okay, because they're completely. Every time I pick up a paintbrush, I have the entire weight of art history on my back. So I'm thinking I'd do something like that. It's kind of like Rembrandt, but not as good. So kids don't go through any of that. Their marks that they make and what they do are completely unself-conscious and have tremendous spiritual power because of it. And artists spend decades trying to get back to that state.
Wow.
So if you look, oddly enough, if you look at the art of a small child, and then you look at like Michelangelo or like in modern art, like de Kooning, let's say, or Basquiat, you'll see there's a kind of a similarity to it. And when my kids were little, being that I was an artist, I would get them like grown-up art supplies for them to use. And I have some, big paintings in my house done by my kids when they were little that you would think were, modern art masterpieces.
What do you think it is? Society just tramples us down, and then we lose that whatever, that gift, that magic?
I think that's part of it. I also think it's that when you approach like 7 years of old, kids before they're 7 years old really don't have an ego. They don't understand that they're really different from other people. They're just completely unself-conscious, And when your ego, I think, kicks in when you're a little older, around 7, 8 years old, and you start to differentiate yourself from other people, you become very self-conscious, and that reaches a climax in, like, let's say, puberty. You remember when you're 13, 14 years old, it's like you're completely paralyzed by self-consciousness, and it starts. So around before 7 years old, there's none of that, So kids are just completely unself-conscious, and they make very powerful art. But so then I started teaching. I've taught a number of things. I taught art history for a while at Mercy College, but I've taught painting. But I started teaching music probably in about the mid '80s, I think it was.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Did you ever have to deal with like people growing? Because I know I and a lot of musicians and creatives probably have to deal with this. Did you ever have to deal with like people being like, when are you going to get a real job? What is this, a hobby? What is this?
Yeah, I think there's an attitude. There's in society in general, there's a kind of an attitude like that. There's people like us. They're kind of like, when are you going to get a real job or something? I don't think I encountered a hell of a lot of that. Or if I did, I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, that's where you just got to tune it out. I feel like.
I don't think I really thought about that too. I just, I can't do anything. I could not have a regular 9-to-5 job. I don't think I wouldn't be capable. I'm doing what I'm good at, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be able to. But
could I ask, what was that process of like finding out how to build that into like a stable income or like something you can kind of like rely on? Because a lot of us
asking for a friend. Yeah,
I was going to say a lot of us are in that
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, part of it was I couldn't do anything else, right? And the other thing is that. I don't know. I get very excited about something. I'm like, I kind of got a bit of an entrepreneurial thing, going. I'll just get real excited about something. I kind of make it happen, or I try to. Trust your own creativity. Make up. Like, if you would have told me, 20 years ago that I've written a bunch of books to teach kids how to do music, I would not have envisioned that. And it all happened organically. I had mentioned Basquiat and the experience I had with my kids when they were little. So, I got it in my head that young children are great artists. And I'm not the first person to thought of this. Is a pretty well-known kind of thing. But what I didn't know, I knew the kids made great paintings and stuff like that. They also make great music. And I completely discovered that through the process of teaching kids. So these books kind of came along later. I kind of compiled the ideas and used them in my teaching for years before I kind of formalized them into books. But what I would do basically is, I would teach kids the same things that they would learn from those, somewhat hokey books, where you learn to play like When the Saints Come Marching In or Old MacDonald and all those kind of things. But I would teach them the same things, but they would make their own music in the process. So you guys are musicians, right? So so like if you've taken piano lessons when you're a kid, you start and you learn a couple notes. So could I just show some of these? How these books work. This is how I all kind of get into it. So I have a bunch of books. They're called Create and Learn Music. They can be used by people, say 5 years old to adults. The latter ones are, used by professional songwriters and stuff like that. But the early ones, from day one, it's about creativity. So like in something like this would be your first day of piano lessons, right? You would learn C, D, and E on the piano, but you would create your own little song with those notes. You see, in the class with the help of the teacher. And then what happens is they transcribe the songs that they've written into another book where they write the notes down.
And they draw something.
Yeah, and then this is where the art thing comes in too. They kind of illustrate their own little compositions. Cool. Yeah, so like think about it, man. I mean, like, after your first year of piano lessons, you would have a book of songs that you wrote yourself and illustrate. So imagine coming upon this when you were 30 years old and seeing it, and the parents love it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Do you sell this like in bookstores? Or
yeah, they're on Amazon, and I use them in my lessons. I have 7 books, and then there are. It goes into more sophisticated.
What would be? I mean, I'm probably thought of this, but getting into like the school systems and stuff, or no?
Yeah. I'm very lazy with the
pushing and
with
the
that kind of stuff.
I'm
more interested in like writing the books, and I got them on Amazon. That's what I got so far. So
that's a big.
That's
yeah.
It's a big step.
I got there's ones for ukulele and ones for. Do you remember Elliott Smith? Do you remember that guy?
Elliott Smith.
Was he on American Idol?
No. He was a
Elliott Smith. Why does that sound familiar?
He was an artist that he died. He was another one that died young. From a drug-related death, but he did the score to Good Will Hunting. He's a very famous indie singer-songwriter guy, but he used to come into my shop a lot, and I remember talking to him one time about his approach to writing chord progressions, because they're very like twisty and sophisticated and kind of Beatlesque, and he said I just used chords that look alike. He would like look at the shapes, and that gave me the idea for these
kind of like inversions where the notes.
Common tones.
Yeah.
Common tones. So like if you write, so I do this thing with kids with like these ukulele books. I've got 5-year-old kids who write these songs based on that approach. They sound like Django Reinhardt or something. They're very sophisticated, diminished chords, all kinds of crazy chords. Yeah. And they just do it by picking chords that look alike in these charts that are in the books.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
And then for the guitar, the same. Yeah.
I know that's popular in like video game scoring. Like they'll use chords that are very similar in terms of like the movement. Like the notes don't move too much.
Exactly.
So
man.
it kind of creates like a soundscape, like a mood.
It does all kinds of things. It's kind
like a zone or something.
Yeah, like an atmospheric. Obviously, the sound design it dictates it too, but the chord choices with the sound design in video, like in like Donkey Kong games and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. So when you have chords that change from one to another without a lot of notes being different, in music, right? It's called common tones, right? So it's like when you have chili the next day and all the flavors have married, right? Everything takes on. So instead of just sounding like a bunch of chords in a row, it sounds like a song because they all have they all have all the same similar notes in it.
Then your brain can like kind of latch on to what's next, man. And then you can like the artist, the producer, they can like switch it up, and then that creates like the tension.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
In your opinion, what's the most important quality a young musician should develop?
That's a good question. A young musician.
Yeah, like kids picking up these books, or kids that you teach.
Yeah, I want them to sort of have ownership of their music. I mean, look, I've talked to so many parents who studied piano, let's say, when they were kids, and none of them play when they're grown-ups. I mean, would you want to play Old MacDonald? You want to play like, Old Town Road or something like that when you're 7 years old. You want to play music you like.
Yeah.
So I do this with them. I also teach them music that they like also as well. And I teach them to read, to interpret what are called lead sheets. So, but to answer your question, I would say I want them to make it their own, which is why I do the thing where they create their own music and they illustrate them themselves. I want them to be creative.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't see that too often in music education. Like,
no,
you're coming up with activities and workshops to have them create their own.
And it gets
song.
the parents involved too, because
Yeah.
like during the week, when they write down their little song, this kid kills me. His name is Finley. He's like a little Basquiat. Look at, I don't know if you can see this, but look at this. Look at this thing. This song is called London Bus 638.
He made that.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So he wrote the song during the class, and then this is called Funky Chicken. This thing right here is a disco ball.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, like.
And then they're putting the art to the music. This is cool stuff.
It's cool, and it's like again, like look at these. I mean, these drawings are just beautiful. They're just they're fantastic.
Where could
shapes
people? Let's say anybody just wanted to pick these up. Where could they find them?
They're on Amazon. If
You just look up "Create and Learn."
Create and Learn Music, Robert Gary. Mostly, what I would like to get more out of would be selling them to teachers, to music teachers, because it's not supposed to necessarily replace like a conservatory method of teaching, right? Although for me it does. This is what I use. But if you teach kids and you want to, it'll definitely enhance your, my kids don't ever quit. They stay with me a long time. What's that called? Retention. Retention. Yeah. I mean, it just, it's just a thing you could add to anything you're doing with your kids in terms of like, just getting them more involved with, creativity. And I teach music. Like when I teach piano, I don't really teach, I don't make them practice scales and all this. I teach music through these instruments and artistic thinking.
So to switch topics for a second, you also score films?
I have done a bunch of that, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where did you get those jobs? How did you get those?
Well, as I say, I owned a guitar store in Manhattan, and one day Christy Turlington, the model, called me and said that she wanted to buy a guitar for her boyfriend, who was Ed Burns, right? So I'm from Long Island. He's like, anyway, we hit it off. He came in to buy a guitar, and I ended up being his guitar teacher for a while. Wow. And he makes, he makes these sort of, his own indie movies in New York. He's very well known in New York. And I think at one point he asked me to score one of his films, and I ended up scoring two of them.
Nice.
Would you say that was one of your like big breaks?
Yeah, I think it was, man. Yeah, it was definitely cool. I mean, I got to go to Hollywood and go to the what do you call it, the on the red carpet and all that. It was
wow.
fun.
What was the biggest like film or something?
One of them was called The Groomsman. John Leguizamo was in it. I did a lot of stuff with him. Yeah, so
and you scored the whole film.
Yeah, I scored. Well, there was another guy I was working with. We kind of worked together a little bit, but I definitely recorded every instrument I played at every instrument that you hear in both films.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are they like asking you to like do a specific task and you have to just put on like kind of robot mode, or like how do you balance your like creativity and your authenticity in creating a score for a film?
That's a good question, because it varies a little bit from one project to another. But like typically what will happen is a director will send you a file with a scene. And a lot of times they have temp music. So you have some idea of kind of what they're looking for. And there are various ways to do it. You can cut to picture, which means you're like looking at the film going by and you're literally playing instruments that kind of relate to the way the camera shots are and the cuts and all that.
That's cool.
I mean, I've done it that way. I've done it. Ed was really cool. I mean, I've had some other experiences with some other directors that were not like that, but he was very cool about it. Like,
so you get the film like before there's any music in there, and you have to just be like,
music's
all right,
the last thing that goes in a film.
You have to be like, all right, this is what I feel from that. Let's create this to that.
Yeah, totally. You got the director will give you. There's a whole kind of art to it. I mean, a lot of times different characters in a movie will have their own little themes, like just a little melody that sort of, next time you go to a movie, you'll see when a character comes on, sometimes you'll hear a little music in the background. They all have their own theme a lot of times. They're called cues, these little pieces of music that go in.
And I'm curious about all this. You outsource and like, you're like, hey, you get a guitar player or something.
I did it all myself, actually.
You did it all yourself.
I played all the instruments myself. Yeah, that's one of the things I like to do. That's crazy. Think about somebody like Beck or something. He's
incredible.
Like one of my guys that I like a lot. Yeah, well, here's the thing, man. When I was a kid, I tried to record on these cassette. When computers came out, and like I remember I couldn't believe it. It was like too good to be true. I used to sit up all night in my store recording because I couldn't believe that I could make a record myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would play all the instruments, sing all the parts, do that, edit, produce it, do everything, man. That's the whole fun of recording is like, well, you probably, I'm sure, do that too. in
Yeah,
your
that's
projects.
why I
Yeah.
kind of opened this up because I was like, I went into my first studio session when I was maybe 23, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty easy. I could just make music and record. It's pretty easy today.
Yeah.
Not like, I was just saying that it's not as hard
It's
as I thought. It's
accessible.
accessible.
Right.
So then I started going to studios, and then I was like, wow, I'm paying a lot of money for studio time. Let me get on the other side of this.
Yeah, man.
And then boom.
Yeah.
Then I had some money. I opened this up.
Well, the thing is too, I was like, when I was a kid, you couldn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you needed all the
Yeah, it's
and
different.
equipment.
Then the
Different
fact
game,
that
man.
like, it was just like digital recording, I think made a big.
It has its pros and its cons, though. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of artists take it for granted
Yes.
how accessible and easy
They
it
don't
is.
commit.
Yeah.
It's harder to commit to things.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that too. Like I'll do
Yeah.
I'll assemble takes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas back in the day, you couldn't.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you only had so much
Yeah.
tape.
And
you
my
could run.
my son, who's he's a tremendous musician. He's great. He makes his own records too and plays all the parts. He's a great guitar player, but he's more like old school. He likes recording on tape and like doing everything in one take.
On
and
physical?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming it's becoming more popular.
How do we do that here?
Well, you need to get a reel-to-reel machine, and then
That's a whole thing. Yeah.
calibrated.
Oh my God, those are so yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of maintenance with it, but from a workflow perspective, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What I was gonna ask is, now we're in 2025. We've kind of had a shift from, I would say, like more natural music, right, to the more electronic, grid-based, whatever you want to call it. I'm a hip hop producer, so my stuff, I try to incorporate a lot of the old school hip hop, which is a little more like groovy and swingy.
Yeah.
But how have you seen like the shift in your students from like as we get more in like a digital, kind of world, basically within music? Like, what's the pros, the cons? Is there anything that's like?
I think it's good. I don't think there's anything. I'm not a Luddite about it. Where like you got to go into a studio with a Studer and and Neumann mics and do everything. I think the fact that you can that someone can do that in their bedroom, at 4 o'clock in the morning, is awesome, man.
Yeah,
It's great.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you create every day? Something?
Yes, I have a painting studio, and I fail a lot. Failing is a lot of what I think Picasso said. 90% of art is destruction. I'm fail all the time. You got to really be
fail your way to success.
You got to be. It's hard. It never gets easier.
I read something like Picasso. I don't know the actual numbers, but it was like, for example, like 20 out of 8,000 of his paintings were a success. That's it. It's like a small success rate.
0.1.
It's a little more than that. That was a made-up number.
I think
But it's
maybe
something along those
Van
lines.
Gogh. That would be more.
Maybe it was Van Gogh.
Yeah. But Picasso was like incredibly prolific. He made like 10,000 ceramics alone.
It's like the prince of painting.
He did so many things.
Maybe
I've
that
never
was
been
Van Gogh.
that huge. What? Maybe
That was Van Gogh.
is the guy. He's like the classic like misunderstood artist who labors away in obscurity and goes insane and kills himself and cuts his ear off first. But he sold one painting during his lifetime for like 10 francs. Now his paintings sell for like hundreds of millions of dollars. And Basquiat, the guy I was talking about, this guy was around just a couple of, he was around in the 80s. He was the first African-American artist in the modern period.
Cudi. You ever seen him?
Basquiat?
Jay-Z got the same haircut now.
Yeah, but he was very influential. But he was he was very successful. But he didn't have the kind of now his paintings sell for as much as de Kooning's or any like American master artist. He's one of the. As a matter of fact, one of his paintings sold was the highest price for any American artist. It's like $110 million. He would have laughed his ass off if he knew that. But
Did you ever sell any of your art pieces?
oh yeah, so yeah, I've been sure, absolutely. Yeah, I've been selling
How do you
art.
deal with creative block or like funk?
Usually get depressed and eat ice cream. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard to do. That the teaching is steady. That's what I like about it. I do it every day, regardless of how I feel, and I always feel better after I teach. Like if I'm in some kind of a funk, I always feel better after teaching.
Oh yeah.
It's like getting the juices flowing, like getting.
Yeah,
confidence.
totally, man.
That's
It's
kind of why I
just-
started
and the
teaching
kids,
yoga again. Yeah.
yeah, the kids get me. You know, kids are
Like inspiring.
they're inspiring. You know, it's like the whole idea that they're just they haven't been. They're still alive. You know, it's terrible to say it, but you know they're just great art. And I wanted to say this before, and I totally forgot about it. Like I knew the kids were great visual artists, but like when I do these things where the kids, you know, write their own songs in the music classes, I'm sitting there listening. I can hear what like they create their own little melodies and stuff like that, and they flawlessly do it. They always know the next note. They always like their pieces sound like little jewels from, you know, Bach and a Magdalena book or something like.
That's
you know,
beautiful.
they have an unerring sense of the next. And I found what I kind of discovered is it's in music too. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. They make really beautiful melodies, and they always seem to just know. And I ask them, "How did you know that was supposed to be the next note?" And they're like, "I don't know. I just, you know, you can't talk. When you
Intuitive.
talk to a
I think-
5-year-old, it's
yeah.
hard to get, you know." But it's interesting.
One of the
I find it
things
very
to take
interesting.
away from today, I feel like, is a lot of these successful artists might have mastered becoming a child again, or getting as close to
Absolutely.
that childlike creativity and consciousness.
Yeah, many of them talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in today's society, you get kind of like shunned for that. Not shunned, but like, I don't know. People will be like, "Yeah, all right, well,
Right.
Grow up.
yeah, grow up."
Yeah.
Pay your taxes.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt, man.
Were you ever a starving artist?
This morning. Not real. Not a starving artist. No. I always made a living at it somehow. I figured out something. You know, like I taught here and there. You know, I just had ideas. You know, the guitar store that lasted about 15 years.
Mhm.
We used to go all over the country and like go to guitar shows and buy big heaps of guitars. And
You always
bring
had that entrepreneurial kind of spirit in you as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, man, you must.
All right, I got some rapid fire questions. Just
Okay.
answer as quick as you can.
Sure.
If you could jam with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh my God, I would say probably Skip James or Robert Johnson or Jimi Hendrix, but I would just more sit there listening to him.
All right, your
That'd be cool.
favorite film score of all time.
Wow, maybe Dead Man by Jim Jarmusch. Neil Young did it on solo electric guitar in one pass while watching it.
Wow,
And it's
One pass?
magnificent.
that's
What?
He
crazy.
sat there and watched it and played, you know, with an
That's
Echoplex.
wild.
With an Echoplex
That's
and like a
insanity.
54
Yeah.
Deluxe. And crazy stuff.
That's
Most
insane.
most underrated instrument.
I don't know, man. Maybe the ukulele.
I had a
love the
feeling you were
ukulele.
going to say that.
Yeah, I
for
love
some
the
reason.
ukulele.
Most overrated instrument.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't think any instrument's overrated.
All right.
That's my answer to that.
Teaching or performing? What's more satisfying to you?
Teaching is way more. That's why I went to film school. I definitely performing doesn't really. You know, it's producing. George Martin's one of my heroes too. You know what I mean? Just like producing and like
Yeah.
figuring out how to put. You know, I like that a lot more than performing.
Do you perform though? Like, have you performed?
I have. I've done a lot of it. Yeah. I'm into like kind of obscure music too, like 20s and 30s, like rural blues from the South, from like
Wow.
Mississippi, and you know, people like Big Bill Brunsey and you know, Skip James, Lightning Hopkins from Texas, and Robert Johnson. And then I love classical music too. I mean, but I haven't really performed. I would rather record than perform.
Is there any like music genre that you don't like or something?
I don't like recent country music very much. Like what would you call it? Like commercial
pop
music.
country?
Makes
Like
me
the
grow
mod-
hair in my pop.
I feel like a
Beyonce?
lot of people say that.
It's horrifying.
I feel like a lot of people say that.
Would you consider Beyonce's new music country music?
I've heard that whole controversy. I haven't heard much of it. I think she's, you know, staggeringly talented. I haven't heard her new
I
stuff.
haven't heard any of her country. Yeah. Anyways,
I don't.
I
don't
understand
know.
that she has recorded
I-
and took some heat for it, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of the early
I think people
country
are-
musicians were black anyway.
That's
in
very
case you don't
true.
know
No, I
that,
just
yeah.
think they're
Yeah.
saying that it's
Yeah.
not like real country music what she's singing.
but
Right?
neither is Florida Georgia line. So.
That's
I just
true.
think of all those bald guys with the like big black cowboy hats. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That swing on the trapezes, and I hate that.
I
Yeah.
just think it's kind
Yeah,
of.
that's sold
I think
out.
it's
That's like-
counterintuitive to like label music as
Yeah.
I agree.
I was just listening to Stevie Wonder like on the drive and like yeah, I could say it's funky, right? But that's like such a, you know, you can't.
Limiting.
It's so much.
That guy,
like it's
that's a genius, right
I mean,
there,
he's a
man. Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
genius.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like
I agree
you
with
can't
that.
you can't characterize. You can't say it's just one thing. Can't say it's funk. Can't say it's R&B. It's just it's a fusion of
Yeah.
like.
But when you upload it to a platform,
It's
you have
just
to
music.
put it. You have to check the box that it of the genre that it goes into.
Yeah.
He played a lot of his own tracks too, man. He was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he
it's
could play
crazy.
anything.
I don't know how much you've interacted with like the greater, larger music industry, but what is your take on that in terms of like either getting into it or just like the creativity being either stifled or led in that space?
I really haven't. I've interacted more with the film industry
Okay.
than the music industry. I haven't. I mean, I have like albums. I guess they still call them that of music that I've made where I played all the parts and did everything myself. And I did put. I don't even think I have them on Spotify. That the part of it is. There's the part of it I'm pretty lazy about. I don't really know. I know what I hear from my son. You know, my son William Gary. He's done a bunch more of that. But
Was that maybe deliberate then? Like you kind of never really felt like you wanted to be in that space?
I was so. It's funny. It's like, why do you want to make a living as a musician so you can make music, right?
Right.
Well, you can just do it too. And like skip that whole part of it. So that's what always appealed to me. The end goal was to be able to do it,
Mhm.
to make music and make art and things like that. So I don't, I didn't really pursue, and I certainly didn't pursue any kind of big followings in the music industry or anything like that. I wouldn't even know how to. It's just way too late for
I
that.
think if you're making music with the goal to be successful or make money off your music, then you're not creating art from an authentic place.
So many people.
Absolutely. I mean, I
Yeah.
hear a lot of shitty music. I mean, what I would say, I hate to point the finger. I love Taylor Swift because she gives Trump so much shit. But like, but her music is like, she kind of popularized this thing where, the same four chords serve as the verse, the chorus, the bridge. There's like four chords repeated the whole. Is where like I just feel like that's a kind of a music
Chipping it,
light.
yeah.
In terms of composition, I think
There's
it's
no
just so important.
unpredictability. in her
There's
music.
no form to it. There's just like the same four chords over and over. Usually you have a bridge, right? So that would be like in a minor key if the song's in a major key, or the chord. You'd have different chords and different rhythms and things like that. It's just not the same thing all the way. I don't know. It sounds like a rant of an old man, but it's like that's I've heard a lot of music recently that I don't think is all that great, but I sound like one of those guys.
No, that's honestly why I was
Yeah.
kind of asking it, because I do feel like a lot of artists these days go into it with like, this is how I make a quick buck, at least like in the hip hop space. I don't know about the other genres that much,
Right.
but a lot of them are like, they could be influencer TikTok stars, like they're like on that energy of, I just want to like create content, and music's just kind of like the thing that I'm doing to create the content.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
So I'm interested in like, just you seem to have like found your footing in a completely different way that it could hopefully like inspire people that like, if you actually do just pursue the desire to make music and then kind of like build the income around it, or like figure out where you fit in different spaces.
I've always loved teaching too. That's another thing. A lot of people don't. They don't. So they have like some day job or something like that. Where I've always, I don't know. I've always liked teaching, so I'm lucky in that respect.
And had the like, the hustle to just like go out and find clients and kind of build the rapport, build that.
Yeah.
I think if I had $1 million right now, just onto me, I would just create like more every day. That's what I would do. I wouldn't people would be like, oh, I would buy this house or buy this and this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the
man.
money would be a tool for me to have the time and energy to get in a creative space every day to just create.
Time
as
is
much
a
as I
luxury.
can.
Time,
Yeah.
time is what you want. You want to be able to do what you want with your time.
I have so many ideas and like apps, TV shows, things,
Yeah.
songs, movies I want to make, things I want to do.
Yeah.
And I just want to create every day. But
So don't worry about being poor is what I would say. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
going to be poor, you're going to be because the end result. I mean, supposing you're if you get to do the thing you like doing, that's your success.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really you got a studio. You already are a big success. This is you're getting to do what you want to do, man.
Yeah.
Keep doing it, and just like don't worry about.
You ever have to work like odd jobs or something to like keep your artistry and passion afloat?
Not so much to keep my artistry, but like after, I've done some really. So I did some short stints doing some horrendous jobs, but then I woke up really fast and was like, I thought. I needed to be like an adult and go. I actually tried selling health insurance for a short time. Fucking nightmare. Terrible at it. And I thought that like, I was very successful with selling guitars, and it's because I like guitars. I figured out afterwards. It's like it was just a transfer of enthusiasm. I thought I could sell anything. It doesn't work that way. So basically, what I kind of figured out, somebody helped me figure out, is that you have to do something that you're good at. Something that you really like doing, something that you're uniquely qualified to do, and something where you can help somebody.
Yeah.
And if you're doing those things, you're a huge success, man. So don't even worry about,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you only have one life, man. You got to do.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Were you ever in a dark place in your life, and how did you get yourself out of it?
Yeah, man, I've been in a lot of dark places. I have always found that getting out of myself in any way I can, trying to help somebody else, is the thing that usually gets me out of it. It's usually when I'm focused too much on myself that I get into one of those places. Usually, that's why, like I say, when I'm teaching, I could be having a bad day, and I'm like, then as soon as I'm teaching, I'm just. I got this one kid. Her name is Luna, right? And she came up with a lyric to a song. It was like the idea of the song was that like Santa Claus during the course of Christmas ate so many milk and cookies that he couldn't fit down the chimney anymore, right? So she had this line. It was like Santa can't have dairy, which is absolutely hysterical if you think about it. Like it's like, and then it was like Santa can't have dairy, but this time he forgot. Oh wait, what is it? Something like. And his beard so hairy had ice cream a lot. I don't know, something. It was some brilliant. It was absolute genius,
Yeah.
So like, I'll be having a bad day and I'll be teaching a kid. They'll come up with something like that, and it's just like,
just put a smile on your face.
It's just like, it's like it couldn't be better.
Wow. So if you're in a dark place, help someone else.
Yeah.
Give your energy to outward to other. Yeah. Help.
Anytime you can get yeah.
I like that. That's beautiful.
I remember once, there's a very famous Van Gogh painting where there's like, it looks like a father or a mother. I think it's a father, kind of like this. And there's a kid, obviously like taking their first steps, you know what I mean? And that kind of happened to me one time. I remember when my younger son, when he was little, I was out with him, and it was like, if you have kids, you're way too young to have kids, I'm sure.
I don't have kids.
Yeah, well, at some point you may. And when you do, what happens is you get to this, it's just like, I don't know, biological. You just become very focused on that. But there's this like week or two where they just start walking, where you just like this with them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I was out in the woods with my kid, and he was trying to walk, and I was like this, and I felt this like freedom, because I was just completely out of myself. I hope this doesn't go in the pod, but this is really geeky. But like, I just got out of myself, and you asked me a question. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was just kind of focused on him for a minute, and I felt, you think that I think a lot of people think that the more that they do for themselves, and I'm not trying to sound like some kind of saint, because I certainly am not, but I have had some some moments in my life where I have managed to, like try to be of service to somebody else or something like that, and those are usually the things that mean the most.
Wow. Yeah.
But most of the time I fail at it and just a selfish asshole like anybody else.
Well, before that last statement, you inspired me a lot.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm inspired to kind of be a better person.
Dude, you got the world by the balls. How old are you?
30.
All right, you're a young guy.
I just turned 31 2 days ago.
Yeah, you got your own studio, man. You're doing it, man.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
This is the end result of you already are here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already are here.
No, I'm just saying being a better human too. Like like helping people get
Yeah.
you out of your own self and your bullshit that you deal
Absolutely,
with.
I know you definitely be like self-critiquing a lot. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
So like getting out of your own head
Yeah.
is the move. Like you, that story you shared with your son is one of the most beautiful. You painted a picture of it, and I could
Yeah,
I could like see like a movie
It was
scene.
vivid,
Yeah.
You
should-
absolutely.
that's
Well, that's
a-
one of the things parenthood does to you. Get you out of.
How many kids do you have?
I have two. My older son is 30, about your age, and my younger son he's an artist and a musician. He's a painter. He's in SVA. He's doing a master's there, and he's a musician too. Very, very good musician.
Very nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's you think it's gonna take away so much from the things you want to do, but it's really just the opposite.
Just
I'm not saying
fuels
you can run
the
out and
important stuff more. Yeah.
Yeah, it puts you in a different place in life. Puts you in a place where you're. I think it reduces, in a way, it increases anxiety, but in a way, it reduces it too because you're no longer the center of everything.
Right. It's bigger than just you. It's not just your world.
Yeah, and it's like visceral. It's just like it happens. You can't help it, kind of.
Come back.
If you were to leave Earth and you had one piece of advice, something to give, maybe looking at a young man, young bright men of our nation, or woman, but like maybe more so like a young man because you are a man,
right?
And I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Father's Day episode, belated Father's Day episode.
Like if you were to like see a young man trying to pursue the arts, and you see yourself in these guys a little bit.
That's probably something I'm more qualified to have an opinion. I mean, if you're an artist, don't forget that. I mean, like right now, it's so hard. Like my son, he's got these huge student loans he's got to take out and everything like that. And he's really the end game is to be able to do art. That's why you did it in the first place. If you want to be a musician or an artist or something like that, what you decided is that to be a really cool life to have, rather than working in advertising. Whatever, that's all good. But like, that's why you're doing it. So if you have to be poor, let's say, and you still get to do the thing you want to do, you want to make art all day, you want to make music. I mean, that's a huge win. That's it right there. That's the end game. So I would say, don't be so like flipping out constantly about like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to if you're just willing to not necessarily,
you don't have to get rich and get all the.
You really don't. If you get to do the thing you want, you're a success. That's what I would boil it down to. That if you get to do the thing, you're sitting here right now doing this in your recording studio.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Will has a creative life. He's a filmmaker, videographer.
Yeah.
So that's if you get to do that, you're already a success.
It's beautiful.
I think.
Yeah.
More people should embody that mindset.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets worried. Like, so you got to hear some of the artists that come in here. If I don't make it by the age of 24, I'm done. I'm like 24.
Well, what does that mean anyway?
Yeah, like what are you talking? What is making it? Making it is
if you want to be
doing it.
If you want to be rich, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah, you should go into like the stocks or something.
Go to finance.
Go into finance, man. If that's what you want.
Open a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Do it for the love of it, and just realize if you are doing what you like doing, you're already there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's kind
beautiful.
of that's kind of what I was kind of like alluding to. Like, I see a lot of these guys. They're just thinking of music or like art as like a way to just they have that picture of the success, the like riches, the such and such. But it's like, people really have to reorient themselves around it. And I think this was great. Like what you shared was really great in terms of like.
I think everybody starts out thinking that. I think even the people a lot of times they become very successful. I mean, I think about it that way. If you're successful, sometimes it's a curse. I mean, look at all these people who die when they're 27 years old.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So much external pressure, like to their process.
I realized this through my experience with my son. Like I see him so worried all the time about his loans, and I get it, man. I get it, but I think people forget that the end result is to be able to do the thing they like doing, or the thing they think they should be doing. The thing that they're good at, the thing that they feel they should be doing.
And it kind of goes full circle, like where you're talking about with kids and creating. You want to go back to that original place of when you started to create, and that's how you create your best stuff.
That's the highest level that you can aspire to, is to be able to get back to that. Like if you look at like Michelangelo or something like that, and you look at like the drawings he makes, they look like they just happened. Like you don't see any struggle whatsoever. They just sort of happen. They're almost like nature made them happen.
It's
And
like
that's the way little kids are. And but to get to the point where he was as a guy, well, first of all, you have to be.
it's kind of like
One
the
million, but-
it's like the intersection of like like massive amounts of learning, but then forgetting it all in the moment.
Unlearning it.
Yeah, yeah.
So- and then letting your automatic
It
brain.
happens a different way when you have to be, you have to just have such a high level of mastery in your craft that you can do it without thinking about it. It's just second nature. But when you're a kid, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have to,
Naturally.
like you
That's
Naturally,
said,
why
that-
kids are.
you don't have that
insane.
doubt.
I mean, those things I showed you, they really do look like Basquiat's or Cy Twombly's or modern art masterpieces. They're
Then maybe
just fast-
this whole, what we were just talking about, this whole ideology and stuff of needing the applause and all that, maybe that comes in when a kid maybe turns 7 or something.
Right.
They start making art and then they hand it in and they get graded on it in a school system.
Yeah.
Or like, they bring it to show and tell and some people are clapping or some people are not.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah.
Or like maybe that slowly integrates into you at a young age. Maybe we got to do something with I don't know. Quick story I wanted to share about, because yesterday I was in the studio. I haven't wrote a song in like 3 months, probably 3-4 months. I've been on a little creative block. I started a new job and, I'm drained. Anyway, I just went outside on the patio for a second and looked out, saw this duck on a rock sitting while the stream was going by.
Mm.
Next thing you know, I come in here, make a whole song
Oh, wow.
out of it. Like,
Mhm.
I don't sit down and like be like, all right, time to make a song.
Right,
I'm
right,
going to
right.
plan out at 2:00, I'm going to write this song. Like it's moments like that just, it inspired a whole thing
Inspiration, yeah.
to come out.
Yeah.
So I think you have to allow yourself to be open and be a vessel and a conduit and let those moments of inspiration, like you ride that into
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah, you got to get out of your own way because it's there, it's just,
Yeah.
you got to get out of the way.
It has been a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, man, definitely, Mike, me too.
This has been probably one of the more inspirational podcasts that we've had, and filled with insight.
Well, if you fuck up your life a lot, you'll be wise.
Just
That's
dropping
true, that's
gems,
true.
just dropping gems
That's
after
very
gems.
true.
Anybody have any last words or questions
No,
Before we-
this has just been awesome. Thank you for
before we log off? for the
Thank
day?
you, man. I'm so glad. Thank LaSheila. It was her idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister's kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
It's all family here. All family.
It's all full circle.
Yeah, man.
Look at this, guys. Robert Gary, go get it. Go get what is it? How do you call it? Create and learn.
Create and learn music. Yeah.
Create and learn music on Amazon.
Yeah.
Anywhere else? Where else can you find it?
I think just on Amazon. I think it's just on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's good for if you're a music teacher, you might want to check it out. I think it would add a lot to your teaching practice.
Robert Gary's Create and Learn. You heard it here first. Revolutionizing the music education world. It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Honestly,
man.
thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
That was a great
Yeah,
conversation.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming by. This has been a beautiful episode. Thank you, and God bless you. Peace and love. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
That was awesome. That might have been one of the best episodes we've